All right, top of the hour now here on the KFYR Plus News Desk. And as the year end approaches, we're joined by John Saylor from Total Tax Solutions now to discuss preparing for your 2025 tax return, your 1099 processing, and some exciting new payroll services launching in the new year as well. So let's explore how these updates can simplify your financial task. Good morning, John. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Jay. I just realized that your guys' camera or whatever you're doing there has receded my hairline to like almost nothing, and that's just not me.
Isn't that crazy? I know it's doing the same thing to me, sir, as well. I mean, I have a full head of hair, but over here, what's going on with that? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah. So
In your stocking this year, we're going to put some of that hair growing stuff. So you'll put it on your head
Rogaine.
next year. Rogaine, some Rogaine we'll have in your stocking for Christmas. So there you go, sir. All right, let's talk about what are some of the most important steps that individuals and businesses should take right now. Here, we're halfway through the month of December, the final month of the year, to prepare for tax season.
It's a really good question, Jay, because a lot of what I'm doing in November and December is tax planning for the year or for 2025. If there's anything we can do by the end of the year to help them save taxes, and then also get set up for 2026 is do we put a bunch of money into a SEP? Do we buy equipment? Do we, do a big bonus paycheck, whatever and stuff, in 2025, or do we wait for 2026 to do all that? So a lot of my tax planning clients right now, that's what that's for. And then also it's the estimates, end of year estimates is, hey, can you take a look at my profit and loss statement here along with my W-2s and this and that? Are we going to owe in money or are we not? Where are we at? So a lot of doing the estimates. So a lot of businesses don't, or most businesses don't pay taxes. It's a pass-through entity to the personal tax return. So it's a part of looking at the business profit and loss statement and then also looking at the personal and see was enough paid in, was enough withheld, so that when they come and they sit across the desk from me, there's not a big shock that, holy smokes, I'm going to owe $9,000. Well, they weren't withholding any money in your W-2, or you made more profit than you thought you did type thing. So, at the end of the year, business strategy right now is just getting some tax planning, some estimates done, those types of things, Jay.
Okay. In addition to tax preparation, you're available now to assist in 1099 processing. What common mistakes do businesses make when they're issuing their 1099s?
So the biggest thing is just fielded a phone call 5 minutes before this is, hey, do I need to do a 1099 for this or this? Well, yes and no sometimes, but for the most part, as a business owner, you want to send that 1099 because that's your deduction on your tax return. And that's one thing that the IRS is going to come back and they're going to look at and say, okay, oh, where's this $6,500 deduction? Well, I
Hmm.
paid for propane. Well, okay, but you paid it to them. Are they claiming it? And that's just where the 1099s really help the taxpayer is, hey, yep, this is the EIN or the social security number that I sent that money to that I can legally take it as a deduction. So 1099s for like miscellaneous, NECs for non-employee compensation, 1099 for rent, 1099s for whatever you paid somebody in cash or you didn't pay them through payroll or something like that most likely is going to come on a 1099 form.
Okay, so for those folks that maybe paying through your app, right? You've got PayPal or you've got the other apps. That's something that they probably should look into a 1099.
Well, potentially. So if they're using a third party vendor to run their bills through and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
they're actually going to get a 1099K from like either Venmo, PayPal, Square, some of those other different like POS systems. They're going to get a
Okay.
1099K from that.
Okay. So they've got that squared away. Let's talk about rental income reporting. How can Total Tax Solutions assist those folks that have rental income, especially the first timers? You know, the guys that have maybe this is their first year of rental income.
So the biggest thing is sitting down with the tax preparer, and so it's if it's the first year that they started this rental, they've rented it out, they've got income coming in and stuff like that. Okay, so let's say they rent it out for $1,000 a month, they've
Hmm.
got $12,000 in rental income. Okay, you're going to pay tax on that. But what we can do is we can take mileage, office in the home, we can take all of the expenses. And the biggest thing is depreciation. So we can pretty much wipe out that income on a rental, hopefully, so you don't pay any taxes. And then if you're within certain thresholds, you can actually take that loss against your personal income. But if you're over a certain threshold, then basically what happens is your that loss is going to be suspended till the next year, year after, year after, year after, until you either meet those thresholds or requirements to take that passive income loss.
Okay. Coming up after the first of the year, you're dipping your toes in the new payroll service. What benefits your new payroll services are offering?
So yeah, what we did is we actually brought on a payroll department for Total Tax Solutions, and we've been doing it for about 6 months now. But we've been getting our getting our feet wet, making sure that
Hmm.
it's all running smoothly. We want to be competitive out there. We've beat if anybody's using any kind of online service for payroll and stuff, we've beat every one of those guys so far. We have an in-house payroll specialist that will sit down, go through WSI, the withholdings, Social Security, Medicare, all those different things, garnishments, all that stuff. So we're just starting to right now promote it more because we know that it's effective. We know that it's going to be cost savings to a lot of clients for payroll that are paying right now. They're going to save money, and it's part of the whole tax preparation type thing. Is I want to make sure that there's enough withholdings on their W-2s so that they're not sitting across the table from me and all of a sudden get a big shock that, well, why do I owe $4,000? Well, your current payroll software you're using or your online software provider for payroll, messed up on your withholdings and you only had $300 withheld, but should have had $4,000 withheld. Now with our payroll department, we can monitor that a little bit better and make sure that there's no big surprises at the end of the year. So our payroll department is top notch. I'm very impressed with what we're doing, and it's a nice another service to add to our tax preparation.
I'm all too familiar with what you're talking about, John, so I can totally understand that. So let's talk about how small businesses benefit from outsourcing their payroll. Right now, they're using maybe something online, a program. Convince them to say, listen, come with me because I have XYZ. Tell them why they should come over to you or any other outsourcing payroll division.
So the biggest thing, Jay, is that we have an in-house payroll specialist, and he's able to sit down with people, answer phone calls, cell phone, email, whatever. He's very responsive, and he can answer those questions almost immediately if they're general knowledge questions or whatever and stuff. And he can actually walk you through the process of why we should do this or that, help you fill out your W-4. That's the biggest thing is making sure that W-4 is correct. But like businesses, if they want payroll, a lot of the businesses that are switching over to us is because they don't understand all the rules, regulations. There's a lot of changes coming for 2026 with the W-2,
Hmm.
the withholding, Social Security, Medicare, and people just aren't up to speed on all of that. So they're better off hiring a firm to do it because we have to know and then we're responsible for it. And the biggest thing is we're saving them money. And the other part of it is we're saving them time too. You should be working, in your business, on your business, hanging out with friends, family, whatever and stuff, instead of the distraction of payroll and stuff. Very reasonably priced with us and stuff. We like I said, we have the in-house customer service where you sit down with Tyler and you talk about what's going on, what issues you have, how can we do this. We also have ways to set up like payroll deductions for health insurance, retirement,
Hmm.
those types of things. So all the payroll needs you have, we can actually offer right now with Total Tax Solutions, and we have been for about 6 months now.
Okay, let's talk about some of the top deductions and credits people often overlook here at the year end.
Yeah, so just a couple of reminders. Child tax credit if they're under 17 years old went from 2,000 to 2,200 bucks, so there's going to be an increase of $200 deduction there. The biggest one is the senior citizens. The senior discount is giving anybody 65 or older in the tax year, they're each going to get a $6,000 additional standard deduction. The key with that though is that's the whole, well, my social security is non-taxable anymore. Well, it's a lot more of it's not going to be taxable, but then there's thresholds again too. So once a married couple that both are receiving social security, they're both 65 or older, once they reach the threshold of $150,000 of adjusted gross income, it starts to phase that 6,000 or that $12,000 credit down by 0.06% for each dollar. So, and it totally phases out at $245,000. So when people are under the assumption that my Social Security is non-taxed, well, it is to a certain point, and that's where, like at the end of the year, tax planning like this, tax strategies, the tax estimates, we can really drill down to it because I was just working on one last night at 8 o'clock for a gentleman, and he's like, "Well, what about this, this, and this, or why does this seem so off?" And I'm like, because you qualify for the $6,000 deduction. Well, then we
Mm.
talked about doing a conversion. And if we do this conversion, okay, well, now it's going to start reducing your senior citizen standard deduction of $6,000. So there again, a lot of planning, a lot of, getting into the weeds. Hey, what are you going to actually owe? How can we save money? And that's what I love to do, Jay, is get in there and find those loopholes, find ways people can save money on their taxes, because we're all just paying too much in taxes and
Hmm.
don't really understand where all the tax dollars are going. So if we can keep that money in our pocket, we want to do that.
We want to do that for sure. John, how can businesses and even individuals minimize those surprises when they're filing their 2025 tax return? Like you said, somebody comes in and says, I didn't even know I wasn't getting enough taken out. How can they minimize those surprises?
So my tax planning is just like my scenario is just like Jay Dillon's driving down the highway and he hits a deer, stops the car and gets out and says, "Oh shoot, now I got to have my car fixed. There's nothing I can do. I got to have the car
Hmm.
fixed." That's what tax preparation is, hitting that deer or basically bringing in your documents and saying, okay, well, I got to do this. It's to be compliant. I got to file a tax return, and it is what it is. Tax planning is looking through that windshield and looking through the goggles that you wear there, Jay, and seeing that deer come across the field. And do we
Hmm.
slow down? Do we speed up? Do we turn left? Do we turn right? What's going to happen if I slam on the brakes? Well, can I just slightly avoid missing this deer? That's what tax planning is how can we avoid those things that happen prior years? How can we avoid that? And that's what tax planning is sitting down looking, hey, how can we do this? Well, one of them is let's change your W-4 to withhold more, or let's put money into a SEP, or let's buy some equipment by the end of the year. Those types of things that really help you to avoid that tax implication, because it's coming. Because no matter what, tax preparation, it's a compliance issue with the IRS that you just have to do. Get in here, let's do some tax planning, let's do some tax estimates, and you're going to see the advantage of doing that for you to save money.
Yeah, good idea. Okay, let's talk about artificial intelligence. The world is being taken over by AI. How is AI or even automation impacting tax preparation these days and even payroll services?
AI is great. We've dabbled in it a little bit here and there and stuff like that. But what AI does is it takes away the personal touch. It takes away if they don't ask the question that, well, your son or daughter turned 17 in 2025. Okay, well that changes from a $2,200 credit to a $500 credit. AI is not going to know that or even ask that question if the lead up questions don't pertain to that. So, in a personal situation, you can sit down, you're more relaxed, you can sit down and explain, okay, well, just so you know, we need to look at this and this. AI is great. They say that it's going to take over the tax prep world. Potentially, yeah, but it's just you're never going to get away from the human interaction that you need
Hmm.
personally to do your tax prep. There just is no way you're going to get around it, because if the questions aren't asked right in AI, they're not going to go down that rabbit hole that you need to go down sometimes.
Yeah, I can understand that. Okay, John, as we head into the new year, what is one piece of advice that you'd give individuals and businesses to stay ahead with tax compliance and financial planning?
The biggest thing it's just coming up on the end of the year here and stuff, but we still have time to make some corrections and stuff like that. But tax planning is and the tax estimates and stuff that I do is just so key and so beneficial to people that it's a way to save dollars. It's a way to save
Hmm.
money. And then it's also the tax planning and strategies is this next year, let's not fall into those same pitfalls. Let's get these things changed. Let's invest into this. Let's do this, because we can show you the savings that you're going to have and stuff like that. And to be totally honest, Jay, some people just don't have the tax advantages or strategies out there that they can use. So we have to either look for those or just say, hey, it is what it is. You make $600,000 a year, Jay Dillon. I'm sorry,
Hmm.
you're single, no kids on your deductions. Sorry, you're falling into the IRS trap where you just have to pay the tax. And we all appreciate it, but it's the other situations where we can try to save people money. If they've got the kids, adoption credits, there's just so many things out there, and then all the state credits. So it's getting with a professional, sitting down and finding out what all those key aspects are to save money.
John, you must be getting excited. I mean, your Super Bowl is coming up here pretty soon. The end of January through really the end of, April 15th. I mean, there you go. That's Johnny's Super Bowl right there. That he's just sitting there rubbing his hands together. I can't wait to put pencil to paper for you folks.
And people think it's kind of crazy. I really enjoy this year, the last month and stuff is where I can sit down and save people money, tax plan strategy, and those types of things. But I also like to do the tax preparation because I sit down with my clients. Each one of my clients will be offered a sit down where I'll prepare their taxes in front of them. They can ask questions. We can go through some different things. So I love the networking.
Hmm.
Absolutely love it. People appreciate it. They bring in, donuts. I think you brought in a ham last year that was uncooked,
Hmm.
but this year we're going to work on you
Still, you
cooking
still
it
ate
and
it
bringing
though.
it in. I did, and it was really good from your place of employment there. But
Yeah.
yeah, so people really appreciate the face to face, where some of the bigger companies just aren't doing that anymore, or they're charging for it, or what. So, but yeah, I do. I get excited for this time of the year. It's cold out. I don't ice fish. My wife says I can't date anymore, so it's really I just stay in the office and do taxes.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with these women these days where we can't date anymore, even though, we have to go back home to them. But nonetheless, that's a different topic for another day, Johnny. We'll get to that later. I hope, I hope, what do you got for going for Christmas? Obviously, you and the girlfriend and the wife going to get together and eat some prime rib, maybe that ham that I got you last year.
Actually, no. My brother Jeff has invited us up to his house, and we just had a big Thanksgiving at my house. So we kind of rotate between the three of us, and but yeah, we're limited to a plus one. He's not even letting us bring our fur babies with, and but yeah, we're
Oh,
gonna have a big sailor Christmas up at Jeff's place this year. So looking forward to that. So yeah, if you want to contribute some of them big drumsticks or something like that, that'd be great.
okay, well, think about that. Well, Johnny, I hope you have a Merry Christmas, sir. That is fantastic. I look forward to getting back with you in 2026 with Total Tax Solutions and our Tax Tip Tuesday. Looking so much forward to that, my friend.
Absolutely, Jay. And I really appreciate everything you do there at KFYR and get some of this information and education out to, the public and stuff like that. So they're better informed and they still do have time before the end of the year to make some corrections. If not, those are some of the corrections that we want to make right away in January instead of waiting until April or May when I get a chance to sit down and talk to them or whatever. But yeah, no, I appreciate the time with you, Jay.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you look much better than my artificial intelligence tax planner, so that's why I've got you on here right now. So thank you, sir.
Absolutely. And just so you know, I got my new license plates in black with the Cubs number
Oh,
one.
Cubs go, baby. Go, Cubs, go. Johnny, have a happy new year as well. Merry Christmas, sir.
You bet, Jay. You too. Thanks.
Bye bye.